Hi, this is Jeannie from Trendy, and today I'm going to make an arrangement to go on my dining table. Now I'm working on my back porch. I'm going to use some fresh cedar, and it's messy, and listen, the temperature is warm today. It's fixing to rain, so don't pay attention to my hair, please. I've been out in the woods cutting some cedar branches. So this is a bottle container, a bottle arrangement that Carrie gave me a while back, and I keep it on my dining table most all the time, and I just change out the decoration in it from season to season. So I want to decorate it for Christmas, and the theme that I have in my house is mostly red flowers and greenery. So I really just wanted something like some red berries to go in the jar and maybe some greenery. My dilemma comes in on how to put the greenery. Now I can, if I was just going to set this on the table and leave it there, I could just tuck the greenery in and around the bottles. But just as sure as I do that, I'm going to need to pick it up and move. And then everything's just going to, the greenery's going to go everywhere. So the next option I thought would be to use a wooden tray to just set the floral container in the wooden tray. And that would work, and then that way I could just tuck the greenery in, and then if I needed to move it, just pick it up and move. But chances are I may need this during the holidays, to serve. So I don't want to tie up my tray. So I thought the next thing that I might do would be to make a sort of a thin cedar garland, and just make the garland about, 2 or 3 feet, and then just take the garland and secure it around the jars. That way, I was wondering if I needed to put something in my jars to cover up the stems. I have my berry branches that I want to put in there, and they're artificial. So I was worried about how the stems are going to look inside the jar. They don't look bad. I've experimented with it and they're okay, but I thought they would look even better if the jars are covered up a little bit. So I'm going to set my bottles out of the way, and I'm going to make my garland first. I have several different things from the shop, from Trendy that I'm going to use. I'm going to go ahead and show you that. This is a berry spray, and of course they tangle up easy. And let's see the number on it. I'll have to look up that number, but it's a great spray. It's long. It's about 40 inches by the time you unfold everything. Of course, if you're using it, you're going to cut off, most of the stem anyway, unless you're using it like as a pick in your tree. I like it because it's kind of thin, and it's got a little bit of green, a little bit of brown, and the red berry, so it really makes it look natural. And the thing about a floral arrangement on your dining table, you want to be sure that you can either see, it's so thin that you can see through it, or it's low enough that you can see over it, or it's narrow enough that you can see around it. So for this one, I'm going for a look that's thin enough where you can see through it. I also brought these glittery cedar branches from the warehouse, and the number on them is 23817. I may snip some of those and work in some of that just to give it a little shine. It's got like some silver glitter on it. And then I'll have these red berry picks that are from Raz, and they are F3932011, and they're just like on a brand stem and just clusters of red berries. So I may use that or I may not, I don't know. And the other thing I have is these little lights. I don't know if you can see it that well, but it's a little battery pack of lights. They're LED lights, and they are waterproof. Well, let me take that back. I'm not sure if they're waterproof or not. They have a timer. But I was thinking, and I love that little thin silver wire, I was thinking that I might, kind of drape those around the bottles as I get through. And they have different settings where you can set them to be always on, or flashing, or steady, or several different settings. So we'll play with those when I get the garland made. Go through get them turned off. Okay. And Browser is out here with me, so if you see my table move, or that's Browser. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is make my cedar garland. So I'm just going to move these things out of the way. And I'm going to use just some paddle wire for the garland. Now, if you watched me make this garland on my mantle, I used a rope. And I used the paddle wire, and I wrapped the greenery around the rope with the paddle wire. But this is going to be a much thinner, lighter garland, so I'm not gonna put it on a rope. I don't want my mechanics to show very much at all on this, so I'm going to start. I'm just going to take a limb of the cedar and wrap the wire around it to get started, and just twist the end of the wire just to keep that end from coming loose. The paddle wire, you can get this at Walmart or Hobby Lobby, you know, anywhere where they sell floral supplies. Getting the paddle wire makes it easy for you to get a good grip, you know, to get your wire tight. Okay, so I'm going to take another piece. Now, I tell you what, let me zoom in close so you can see this better. Okay, now after you've got your garland long enough, like for this, that's what it looks like. We're just going to put it around the arrangement and wire it together. I've still got my paddle wire attached. So I'm just going to take my wire. Let's see. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and cut my wire at this point. And then just to make it, you know, snug up close to the bottle, I'm going to take a little piece of wire and go between the bottles and wire that together. And like I say, this wire is not going to show. Of course, you want to be sure you put it where it's not going to scratch your table or anything. But I'm just going to wire that. We can always go back and fluff these out, stick in some extra pieces if we need it, snip out any dead pieces. That way you can shape it a little more, like if you want to push it down closer to the bottom of the arrangement or up closer to the top of the bottles, you can do that. I cut that piece of wire too short, y'all. Let me just get another one. I love these bottles. Sometimes I just put fresh flowers in them if I've got anything blooming, or sometimes I just get like a bouquet from Walmart and break it up and put it in there. But one of my favorite arrangements was this fall. I used it, and I put these beautiful persimmon branches that we had in it. Okay. Isn't that pretty? I like that. Of course, I can push that garland down a little bit. I'm going to leave it kind of about midway of the bottles for right now. Next, I'm going to add some of my red berry spray, and I've already got one cut into pieces, so I just snipped it off with some wire cutters, and I'm just going to stick those down in the bottles. And, you know, not a particular pattern or anything, but just kind of go back through here and see. I don't know exactly how full I need to make it, and we're just going to experiment with it. So that was one bush, I believe. So I'm going to go ahead and cut another one. Let's see, those are not my wire cutters. Try not to use your scissors when you're cutting something like this, because it will dull them. And our big wire cutters are at the store, the shop. If you're not familiar with Trendy is a website that I started several years ago, and Carrie, my daughter, and son-in-law David took it over several years ago, and they sell all sorts of wreath making supplies, mesh, ribbons. They have like over 100,000 styles. Excuse me, over 1,000 styles of ribbon. And Carrie just recently opened a store in downtown Pontotoc. So we're in Mississippi. If you're ever in the area, we would love for you to stop by. The store is located at 10 West Marion Street. So I'm going to just put in another branch. I love this. It's just really natural looking with the brown and just a little bit of green. And it's just light and airy. And these branches are wired, so you can shape them. If you've got one that's just sticking out in the wrong direction completely, you can just always shape it. I think I'm going to snip one more, and that would be using 3 of the berry sprays. Now that I'm out here in the sunlight, I can see my bottles are a little bit dusty. I probably should have cleaned them up a little bit before I started. I love the smell of cedar. Of course, it's just 2 weeks until Christmas, so this will last, okay. I'll have to get rid of it when it starts drying and, falling off, but, this is free. Okay. So, just kind of sticking these in kind of randomly. And like I say, it's thin enough that you can see through it. You can see the other person on the other side of the table. That's important. You don't want to block the view. Okay, so I'm going to stop right there with that, and I like the way that looks. Now, I have these little glittery cedar branches, and I was thinking that I might snip off some pieces and just tuck some pieces in. Now, if I pick my arrangement up and the little plastic cedar branches fall off, that's okay, but this way I can at least move the whole thing. If these little cedar branches fall off, it won't matter. So I'm going to snip off a few of those and just kind of see how that looks. Just give it a little sparkle, especially since I was thinking about using the battery lights. Now if I had some hot glue, I don't have a hot glue gun out here. That would be the ideal thing, would be to just touch a little hot glue to it and let that, it would stick, would do a lot better. But you know, if you don't have it out here, you don't have it. But that's just going to add just a little bit of sparkle. And we'll pick up the lights when I put the battery lights on. Not going to use much, maybe 2 pieces. And I'm just going to add my battery lights. I'm just going to kind of take them and wind them in and out around the bottles. Of course, this will show up better at night. You can't tell too much about it right now, but let me start at the other end. Ooh, windy. Let's make those lights where they stay on all the time. Okay. Of course, after you get it on your table, you know, you can take your lights and kind of tuck them in. Tuck them under a branch to keep them in place a little better. Just tuck the battery pack out of the way. Okay. Well, anyway, there it is. I like it. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to check out our website, trendytree.com, and I'll give you the links to the berry sprays that I used and the little cedar limbs. And thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.